Hello everybody and welcome NBL Overtime Tuesday night on what has been an historic week for Australian basketball. Not just the fact that they beat the USA for the first time ever, but we've got the new backdrop essentially paying homage to the men who hopefully are going to bring home a men's medal for the first time at the World Cup starting in only a matter of days. In the NBL front, we're going to talk a little bit about the teams that are impacted by some of their players on representative duty. Pre-season games are underway and this man's wearing all salmon.
Listen, first of all...
For people, firstly, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you for having me back on this show, of course.
And just, I want this, before we get any further, Liam Santamaria, welcome to you.
Thank you.
Just for the people at home, of course, with the desk, it isn't just the salmon up top. No. It is full salmon.
I mean, let me just say up.
Okay. Yeah, please.
It's a whole lot of salmon.
That's what I wanted.
It's how I'm rolling, all right? First of all...
This is how you celebrate
this
an historic week.
This actually looks like I just came from Kanye's Sunday service.
Oh, there it is.
But funny enough, this is Brand Black. This is a company that I represent out of the country. And
Okay.
shout out to Brand Black. You brought it up, not me.
Oh, no, I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I'll be honest, I don't know if I love it or hate it, right as
I
appreciate it.
You never
Thank
know
you.
what's going to walk in the door.
Never know.
You never know.
All right,
Keep you on your feet.
Welcome.
You know?
What a week, man. I know you've been everywhere, of course. You were saying Canada last night. You're in Sydney, the two wonderful games at Marvel Stadium. You've been around. How you feeling, mate? How's that domestic jet lag?
You know, it's serious. It really is, but, you know, it's for all the right reasons. What an incredible week for basketball in this country. I don't think, you know, it's ever been like this before. For one specific individual event. Basketball has come here big in the Olympics, 2000, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah.
It's 2019. It's been 19 years. This is incredible. What this does for basketball in this country, which I know we're going to get to, I'll just say my part and then I'll leave it to you guys. The young kids it's going to inspire the next generation on a level that it's never done before. And I'm going to leave it right there.
Before we talk about Saturday and what transpired, just quickly on Thursday night, Liam, you and I had very similar ages. We're just hardcore basketball fans. The emotions, I think, for all of us, walking into Marvel Stadium with 50,000 plus to watch a game of basketball, for so many of us who, when the NBL was struggling and basketball wasn't quite getting the type of love in the media that you and I probably wanted to do, to walk into Marvel on Thursday night was amazing, wasn't it?
It really was. And just, I mean, I took a number of moments throughout that night just to look around the crowd and just soak that in. I mean, obviously, and I said this on radio yesterday, like the love for the game in this country is enormous. And we knew that. And that's why they put these two games in a Marvel Stadium. They knew that there'd be 100,000 people across the two games. But to actually experience it on those two nights and then to cap it off with this win on the Saturday, it was unforgettable. And I've just been riding on a high ever since.
Game two and the historic notion of it. It felt to me that the stadium is more full of basketball purists compared to a major event as it was on Thursday night. That's from where I was, and I'm not necessarily saying it was just full of non-basketball hardcore people, but I think that there was a dramatic shift, I think, halfway through the third quarter in the atmosphere inside Marvel Stadium when a lot of people started to realise, hang on a second, this Boomers team have made the adjustments. They're playing better offensively than they did on Thursday night, and all of a sudden, Patty Mills does what he does, and it turns into one... Sporting-wise, it was.
Iconic moment. I hear you. I don't think it had anything to do with a different clientele or different people in there. It was just that the crowd found its voice late in that third quarter because when the States went up 10, 68-58, and then timeout Boomers, they made some changes, they came storming back, the crowd all of a sudden realised, oh, wow, we could actually win this game. Let's get involved and bring them home. And wasn't it? It just was stirring. You could feel it right through your body when that crowd got involved and Paddy rode it all the way home.
I know you're going to break it down. We'll get a little bit to that in a moment. But you were courtside, and a man who we got told dominated camp, and it was impressive at camp in Nick Kay, Perth Wildcat, of course, all NBL first team. His third quarter on Saturday was huge. Huge reason as to why, you know, he's getting the minutes that he is playing behind Landale, played a bunch of minutes in Perth, and I think on Saturday we started to see exactly how good this guy is, as we already know, watching him week in, week out in the NBL season, but also how he's actually suited to international basketball. His skill set fits perfectly in this team and the international competition, the way the game's played.
I think, for me, Nick Kay's the best power forward in our league here, right? First team All-NBL, played a huge role in them winning another championship. So it's no surprise to me what he did. It's just all about having the right opportunity, getting your confidence. You're amongst a whole new group of guys, a majority of the guys playing the NBA. So you just want to establish yourself to let them know that, you know what, I can play as well. You know, I'm a quality player. And to do it on that stage at that time and moment when your team needed it the most, you get the utmost respect.
All of our NBA guys were terrific. Joe set the tone early and Paddy rode it home in the second half, and certainly Bogut was amazing. Bainesy, those guys did a great job. But you're right, Nick Kay, and it was interesting because when he came in, he was the guy that turned it over in the backcourt. Yeah. Jason Tatum, hammer dunk in transition, timeout. But Andre went to the full court press that he likes to go to from time to time, and that is the reason why Nick Kay's in the team. Because Andre likes to use that defensive scheme to change games up. And Kay, he sees, is the perfect guy at the point of that press. Went into it, changed the tempo, forced a couple of turnovers, and it turned the game around. So keep an eye on that as the World Cup progresses, and those moments when Kay comes into the game, they get up the floor, and whether it works or not.
Joe Ingles was outstanding. Andrew Bogut, great. Nick Kay was great as well. We get to a fourth quarter, and Patty Mills, who essentially has been our highest profile NBA player for a while. Obviously, Ben Simmons probably takes that mantle now, but this was obviously, that's early. He just felt it early. He was able to use that's in early, obviously, in the game, and you felt when Australia, the US got a couple of quick points off Marcus Smart. He was the one who was able to come in and make a couple of buckets and just take a little bit of the nerves and the tension out of the Boomers. But this fourth quarter, anytime they needed something, they knew exactly where to go, and he delivered.
Yeah, that one was still in the third when they were making that run. See, he was big in the third. People forget how big he was during that run to get back into the game. And you see that bucket took us back to 1 point.
Soft rim.
And then this is what he did in the fourth quarter. And what I liked about it, it was all out of our stuff. People talk about Andre Lamanis's equal opportunity offense.
Hang on a second. He called Bankier on the side.
Look, when you're feeling it, you take it however it goes.
I like what he said post-game. He said, hey, the backboard's there for a reason. But they talk about that equal opportunity offense and say, oh, man, you got to get the ball but you got to get rid of that and, run some. What they do is they use different actions within that offense to go at certain guys in different situations. And once Paddy was feeling it, they kept running the same stuff. Give it a Bogut.
Larry Kesselman on the edge of his seat there.
Come off the staggered action on the weak side and play off of that. And they did a great job of getting the ball into the right man's hands in the right moments and riding him all the way to victory.
It was so fun. And the way they actually won the game, it all came out of the system, but the way with Patty Mills hitting big shots, like win's a win, but the way that they were able to do it, the big three, the bank is unreal, and then obviously getting to the basket, which was called a Joel turn to win in anyway. It added to the excitement of the actual game because everyone just assumed, myself included, if the Boomers were to get a win, they were just going to clog it up and make it real ugly. They played really entertaining basketball, and in the end, out-entertained the US.
I think they were the aggressor. They wanted it more. That's exactly what Kimba said. And, all you want to do in any game, okay, especially against a tough opponent, you want to keep the game as close as possible to the last 2-3 minutes of a game, and then you got to make plays. This guy, and I'm not even going to say this guy, Patty Mills was incredible down the stretch. You have to credit not only him, but the rest of his teammates to understand and know these guys, he's feeling it. Let's keep giving him the pill. Let's ride him out. There's no ego, there's no pride. One thing again, when you wear these colors, it's not about you. It's about the team. It's about the country. So credit everybody. I mean, Joe Ingles, what was awesome about that was he could go to the point. Throw Patty at the 2. Let's run him off some stuff. Bogut, incredible game. Incredible. 16-9. It's not personal. Don't. I saw your face. You got to give credit when credit's due. And I'll say this. If Andrew Bogut is coming into the season playing like that on a consistent basis, he'll be MVP of the league.
He looks great. He looks amazing.
He will be MVP of the league again.
Because that's how we played last season.
No, he didn't.
See, I'm with you, Lee.
He got the ball, faced up, and scored. He used those centers. Brick Lopez couldn't do nothing with him. Plumlee couldn't do nothing with him. Nothing. When he got the ball,
so you mean exactly what
he
the
was
NBL defenders
assertive
couldn't do nothing with
offensively.
it?
Who were doing
But it's
things
different
with
when
him
there's
last
NBA centers on him.
Yeah, so-
it holds way more weight.
Yeah, so, but
Want more weight.
I agree.
To me.
I agree, but he still did what he did on Thursday last year in the NBL.
No, he didn't do that.
Okay.
But let's not go to the NBL.
No, let's go back to Patty Mills.
to this.
Yeah, let's go back.
Yeah, because this guy averages 20 points a game in the leading scorer of the Olympics in 2012 in London, second leading scorer in Rio, averaging 20, 21 points a game. And what they do a great job of, like I said before, scoring through Paddy out of their stuff. He doesn't dominate the ball. He moves without it. They made that great adjustment putting Joe Ingles giving him the ball and putting him in playmaking situations. And it wasn't about taking Paddy off the ball. It was taking Daly off the ball. Put Daly in the corner, turn him into a bit more of a screener and let Joe Ingles go to work. But Paddy looks primed to have yet another outstanding major international tournament in the green and gold.
I highly doubt he's ever going to leave the San Antonio Spurs, and has been so successful, and like Greg Popovich, you can't say enough. But did your mind ever race about what he could do in an NBA team where he got given the licence to really take the game on? And that's, it's success for individual, and I'm not suggesting that Patty Mills should just go stuff the Spurs because they've been a wonderful organisation for so long, but geez, if he was given the reins to an NBA team, and one of those lower NBA teams that essentially needs someone like him to be able to give them a chance to win night in, night out, he'd be a guy, he'd average 20 in NBA. Yeah,
no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And we know that. Like, a guy in a certain system does a certain thing, and he plays his role.
Right.
And, I mean, you think there's so many examples over history of, think back to, like, Willie Farley at the Adelaide 36ers. And within that system and the way that team worked and the coach used him, he put up those numbers and did those things, and then he went to West Sydney and he did what he did there. It wasn't the same system. Paddy is outstanding in his role with the Spurs. His role with the Boomers is different, and he does what he does in those two spots.
Either Patty Mills or Dennis Schroeder will lead the World Cup in scoring.
Dennis Schroeder?
Now, do we have...
Who the hell is Dennis Schroeder?
What do you mean Dennis Schroeder?
Come on, man.
Plays for OKC.
Germany.
Yeah, he plays for Germany.
We might be playing them in the...
I know, it's going to be fun to watch. Now, do we have the Andrew Bogut? Can we go back to Andrew Bogut? I think we've got some highlights. 16, 9 and 4. He was outstanding. And look, I don't know if it's a perception thing, as you just touched on, and I'm not saying he wasn't in great shape last year, but he looks the fittest I've seen him, the most refreshed, and he's almost moving as well. Remember the Rio Olympics when he was coming off that knee injury and he come back and he looked really lean and he played really well at that Olympics, Liam? That's what struck me, I think. You look at that on Thursday and Sunday with Andrew Bogut.
Yeah, he's playing so well. You're right, he looks great. It was interesting to hear what Steve Kerr said about him in the article from Matt Logue today in the Daily Telegraph, saying he's one of the best passing big men to ever live. He said, absolutely, we'd be keen to have him back late in the season next year because it worked so well, and then we saw what he did on Thursday and Saturday to us. It is just a work of basketball art. Watching him wheel and deal from that high post with the Boomers, passing, setting guys up, taking it off the dribble, but also his screening. His screening in that spot, with and without the ball, is beautiful.
That's the best I've ever seen Andrew Bogut play.
Really?
That game right there was the best I've ever seen him play. Hands down. That was an incredible performance at the right time when they needed a bucket, and he got the ball. When he was assertive offensively, he made a play happen. Whether he's made a play happen, whether he's using his ass to set the screen to get Patty open, whether he's, again, passing from the high post, his basketball IQ is through the roof. And it was great to see that against Team USA.
I don't want to scare Sydney Kings fans, but he really fits a Lamanis way they play their basketball.
That's not going to happen.
I know it's not going to happen.
Let me tell you something.
Simply saying how well he played within the structure.
Do you know what? He's got Will Weaver as his head coach this year, who's been with Lamanis for 5 years in the Boomers program and plans to run a very similar system. They are going to play off Bogut in the high post. And that's why have they not signed a brute of a power forward that's going to sit in the low block? Because they want to run that kind of stuff, put 4 guys off the ball that are moving without it, can all shoot it, can all slash, and play off Bogut.
What were we going to say, Salmon? Did you have something to say?
No, I had nothing to say.
Okay, cool. Hey, just no, so we'll get to something a little bit later. Just remind me. All right,
I'm calling you names.
Everybody, Salmon.
Oh my God!
That's not right, man.
I was like...
Hey,
it's not right.
For people
The man's
at
name's
home,
Corey.
For people at home, and Corey said to us, says that, hey, the carry thing was fun, so I no longer use it. And then Harrison Barnes is dropping it, Aaron Baines
It doesn't give you a license to just jump right back.
I haven't used it yet. I called him Salmon. I'm trying to get something else started. All right. Santa's watching Boomers edition. Liam Santa Maria wrote a wonderful article on NBL.com.au analysing this wonderful contest. And in fact, the two contests as well. But what did you say?
Yeah, well, let's have a bit of fun with it. There's been a bunch of games going on, and there was a bit happening. I liked how, for a 70-year-old man, he was best on ground, Greg Popovich. Look at the hustle from Coach beat Donovan Mitchell to the ball. How good was Spider Mitchell during his time here, by the way? Just a class act. And Chris Golding still getting used to the haircut.
Yeah. It's gone, Chris. It's over. It's over. Let it go.
Hey, shout out Chris Golding on Thursday was brilliant.
He definitely was.
Here's Bogut. This is how he reacts to Michael Aylen now. Just a little hey, come on, man.
Just on that, there's some frustration from Andrew Bogut towards the referees at certain times, and that was part of it. Didn't allow him to affect his game.
Handled it well. Speaking of Bogut, everyone's chiming in on that action now. Hey, look at Boban. Good luck, Rob Lowe.
Oh, bang.
Look at that. One hand. That team's going to be tough.
They are.
Corey. Hey, what's going on? Man?
Come on, man.
Hey, do these guys think you're Kevin Durant?
Yeah. That one again.
I walked out the tunnel. They were like, homicide.
I hope that wasn't
you.
Hey, that wasn't a Boomers ball, was it?
No. It was just
devaluing Team USA.
It was just nothing but love, man. They asked for it.
Speaking of this, Cam, please explain.
Oh.
Bit posy.
I kind of like that look. I like that look right there.
I thought you might, because
I like that look.
Posy.
I like that look.
It was in, well, actually, I didn't like it too much. So I rang you last night after the USA-Canada game. We were both in Sydney. I said, you want to get a beer? I said, I'll hit you back. And I had to go back.
This is how you do it now?
No, I had to go see a man about a dog.
That's fair enough, too.
Yeah.
I hope the pooch was worth it.
Yeah, it definitely was.
Just sidestep that.
That will be a bit more explained in a week or two with an announcement. But we'll get to that another time. All right, let's get to that.
Wait a minute. You got some kind of contract? You got a deal? Nike. It looked like a Nike deal.
All right, let's get to
very posy, whatever it was.
First time I broke those bad boys out, actually.
You sure did.
Boomers medal chances. Let's get to them. Do you feel a lot more comfortable or confident that they can win a medal based on what you saw in the two games?
Yes.
I'd hope so. They expect the number one ranked team in the world.
Yeah, how could you not? They have, clearly stamped themselves as a genuine contender. And they're how good they played. And, people were having kittens after the way they played and the loss to Canada. Yeah. So, sack Lamanis and throw it all away and the team that he selected and we can't... This is the golden era and we're wasting it. And I was like, hold on, chill out. These guys have got to get back in form and get back into playing basketball again. They've been sitting out for so long and they have started to click and, boy, didn't they play well on Saturday. And sure, they can go ahead and win a medal. They could go ahead and win gold.
We spoke last week.
It's not going to be easy at all because there's a bunch of really good national teams. Just
on the Lamanis thing, because we spoke last week about the differences they made from that first game against Canada, which Aaron Baines didn't play, which I didn't really understand, but he played in the second one where they got the win. And the article that you wrote, you spoke of the adjustments that Andre Lamanis made, not just from game to game against the USA, but in-game adjustments as well. I think David Barlow might have been quoted in that third quarter where they had 10 down. And that's something that I think a lot of people, in particular after the Canada game, where social media immediately melted because we lost the game, the first one when, as you said, we're meant to be in the golden era. I think the fact the adjustments they've been making on the run with this group is a testament to, one, the coaching staff, of course, but two, the players who are willing to buy in and understand where this team's going. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be an unpopular opinion because it feels like it's an unpopular opinion because on social media, everyone just gets after Andre Lamanis. I think he's a really good coach. I think he's a really good coach. And I don't agree with everything that he does, but he's who am I to say what he should or shouldn't be doing? And I think he's the right man to be leading this team. And the US, have you lost a little bit of confidence that they are the team to beat for gold?
I mean, this is how I look at Team USA. Okay, I look at the NBA like this. Outside of the top 20 American superstars in the league, after that is fair game. You know what I mean? It's even. A lot of these guys are not superstars on their team. They just play specific roles. So you can't just believe that this team is just going to waltz through the World Cup and get gold. So, I mean, they got to play hard every night. I mean, everybody's coming at them. You know, you lose in an exhibition game to Australia, people are like, okay, there's definitely a chink in the armor. We're going to attack that. We're going to scout them. We're going to watch that game. We're going to break it down possession by possession and see where their weaknesses are at. You know, this is an international game. It's completely different. A lot of these guys are young, and majority of them are, if not all of them, are inexperienced when it comes to international play. For example, they're getting pressed and fully denied full court. Who does that in the NBA? Nobody. The court is shrunk. It's basically like back to college for them. That's very difficult to adjust to with a brand new team. So it's not going to be a cakewalk. I don't discount them, but it's not going to be easy.
You were courtside last night against Canada, which they won fairly convincingly. Do you think they improved, or do you think they looked better last night than they did Saturday?
I don't think there's only two things that stick out to me for that game, from that game. One was the buzzer beating alley-oop dunk by Spider Mitchell, and two was the whole crowd getting hyped for Brook Lopez. So that's the only two things that stick out good for me from that game.
15,000 last night in Sydney. Anyone who was in the crowd last night, you can tell us how the hell that started, because I actually, for 5 minutes, got involved in a conversation where I was sitting, and next thing you know, the Lopez chant started. I thought I just totally missed something, but for anyone, hashtag NBL overtime to tell us exactly how that started. All right, while the weekend was going on, the Tall Blacks were already over in China. They played Italy last night and got a win. Of course, chock block of NBL talent, 21 points led by Corey Webster. And this Tall Blacks team's had a pretty good lead-up to the World Cup, which starts obviously in a couple of days. Webster 21, Abercrombie, there you go, Gallinari and Bellanira, there you go, the two NBA guys. I can read that. Yeah, 22 points in 19, but good win for the Tall Blacks. You were playing well.
Really good win. That is a legit win. And Corey Webster was really, really good. So was Ty Webster. Ty Webster's had a really good sort of preparation to this World Cup. Who was that? Natai with the finish off the Smith-Milner pick. And, they just played really well. 15 from 30 from long range. And a whole bunch of that was Corey Webster. Some of that was Ethan Rusbatch, who I'll talk a little bit on in a minute. I mean, he hit a couple of threes in the third quarter that were massive. Corey's having a terrific preparation. They went down to Serbia by only 10 in the game before this one. Here's Rusbatch knocking. This guy should be in the NBL, just quietly. I can't believe he is. This series again. Look at the score. Tied game late in the third against Italy, and he just goes bang, bang. And I think he is better. Ethan Rusbatch, he is better than at least one person on every NBL roster right now.
How old is he?
27. So
I don't believe that should stop him. I'm just wondering how old.
No, I think he should be. I think he'll probably be in the league at some point this season.
Yeah, Sledgehammer.
The Breakers have not the Breakers. The Tall Blacks got a tough group.
They have
really tough group. They're a really good team that are coming together nicely. Had a good preparation, but boy, do they have their hands full in the pool play.
We also have to remember, piggybacking off what you're saying about Corey. Corey was injured pretty much like half the year. I was hard on him last year because I expected so much from him, and he plays such a huge part in what the Breakers do. And, he just wasn't able to come to the party. So I spoke to him prior to Canada, New Zealand. And I said, what's up, man? What's good? How you feeling? He said, I'm healthy now. I'm ready. I said, all right, let's go. So I know that he's coming in even more focused this season, and it's starting with the play now, which he will transition if he continues it, which I have no doubt that he will continue this type of play throughout the Cup. So watch out for Corey. So
he has been, in my view, the most impressive NBL player in the off-season. Played really well in that NBL team, the tour team in China. He's been really good for the Tall Blacks. We did depth charts, or Liam did the article on NBL.com.au a couple of weeks ago. Did depth charts, of course you did yours as well. But we spoke about this. It looks like we think Corey might come off the bench.
Yeah. Well, I know, talking to some people involved in the Breakers organisation, I mean, my understanding is when they were recruiting their imports and they were recruiting Sek Henry to play in that spot, that was the idea. Because, and Corey will say this, it was a bit disappointing last season. And they had him, they rolled him out there and wanted to play off him, and he didn't really produce. So I think that was the idea. But you're right. He is playing terrific. His form right now reminds me of 4 years ago, 2015, the homecoming series here, when he lit up Rod Laver Arena that night against the Boomers, took that form into his opportunity with the Pelicans, playing pre-season, nearly made that New Orleans roster that year, and since then hasn't really been able to quite find that consistent form. But if he can carry what he's doing right now with the Tall Blacks and what he did with that team in China into the season, absolutely he would be the starter.
We spoke in the off-season, we spoke last season about, at times it's ride and die with Corey Webster and New Zealand. When he plays well, they traditionally win. That's exactly how it has been. Like even last year, he played really well in the last game of the year, or the second last game of the year when they played Melbourne United. Might have been a week out from the end of the season. They went to overtime and he hit big threes. When he's rolling, the team is rolling. And I think we're seeing that a little bit right now for the Tall Blacks. And that's why you'd like to see him in this form, injury-free as you touched on, start and just go, what can you give us? Because he's so fun to watch as well.
Let me tell you something.
Tell us.
We are all right on this panel. We are all right.
Thank you.
Not always.
Sek Henry is a stud. All right? Former MVP of the league in Israel, and he averaged almost 18 points a game in Turkey. He's not coming here to come off no bench. All right? Scotty Hobson, we know he's a stud.
Yeah.
That wing position, could you imagine practice? Because you're right, if Corey keeps this type of player...
Corey's got no plan to come off the bench.
Exactly.
This is crazy. And you know who the point guard is? RJ. So what are they going to go to? 4 out, 1 in? That could be a possibility.
They're not going. The 4 of them will not start. Well, then Finn Delaney's had a really good off-season as well. Does he come off the bench? And then we're talking about the Finn Delaney situation as we just talked about.
Do you know what? Against some lineups, it's not crazy. Against Brisbane, Taylor Braun at the 4.
Yeah.
You could start Scotty Hobson at the 4. Against Melbourne, if they play Casey Prather at the 4 and they go Trimble, McCarron, Golding, you could start Scotty Hobson at the 4.
Outside of Perth and outside of probably Southeast Melbourne, Phoenix with Wesley, I reckon you can go.
Eric Griffin.
Yeah. I still reckon but you've got to guard them the other way as well. This is that.
Exactly.
You've got to guard them the other way.
That's going to be fascinating to watch this season.
Right.
But just on the Tall Blacks before we leave them, their group, Greece, Brazil, Montenegro. So Greece, they're going to play the NBA MVP.
And his brothers.
His brother. They got some other good players. I mean, Dick Kalathis is an outstanding point guard. Montenegro, they've got Nikola Vucevic, 20 and 12 in the NBA last season. And Brazil loaded. With, a whole bunch of NBA guys. And
shout out to Didi.
And shout out to Didi, who's going to play some good minutes and give them a real spark off the bench. So to get out of that pool, they are going to have to play out of their shoes.
All right, so World Cup starts Sunday night. NBL teams, just on this. So Brisbane have a couple of players in the Boomers. So do United. Kings, Wildcats and Southeast Melbourne Phoenix. That's part of the 7 NBL players in the World Cup. United also have 3 that are playing for the Tall Blacks, so they have 5 players away from them. So just quickly, how much is it going to impact? Because we're so caught up right now in the World Cup. Pre-season games are starting. We'll get to Adelaide and Southeast Melbourne Phoenix in a moment. The Blitz is only a couple of weeks away, and some of these guys won't be available, even if they're back in the country, to play in the Blitz and have a great deal of pre-season. Who do you think it's going to affect the most?
First of all, Brisbane's starting backcourt is in China. You can't replace that.
And the head coach.
And the head coach.
Yeah.
Brisbane. United have their 3 imports. You can work with everybody. And money-making Mitch.
Yeah, hold on, though. Brisbane's so
good.
But they're there playing the system. They're going to play in Brisbane. Sobe's running all the same actions and doing all the same stuff that Andre wants to do with him with the Bullets. You know the team I think is mostly affected? Sydney. Because not only is their main guy away, but their head coach he's their brand new head coach. Trying to implement a new system that's going to revolve around the guy who's also not there. So Melbourne and New Zealand have the most guys away, but I think Sydney's probably the most effective.
Just on that, I'll tell you what, Andrew Bogut's so damn intelligent. He's able just to fit. Now, I agree. Without Will Weaver and not having any sort of course, he spent a fair bit of time. They've been away on camp, so it's not like he's been anonymous. But the fact is that he hasn't had seasons with these players under his belt. He hasn't worked with Casper Ware in a situation. Who's been in and out of the country at different times. Kevin Lish as well. Sorry, my apologies. two for the Kings is Didi Lozada, who I believe will start, as you just mentioned, is playing for Brazil. So there's another guy who doesn't speak English as well, so that's going to add some complication there.
So look, they have no worries. We're talking all awesome things here. This has been an awesome show. Now, let's go to that backcourt, which is the most dynamic backcourt, the best two-way backcourt in this league. I spoke to Kevin Lish yesterday. He's healthy and ready to go and very, very excited to be alongside Casper. That backcourt could hold down any guard combo here, right? Who else they have right now that'll be there? They got that other import who's super explosive.
Jay Sean
right?
Yeah.
You got your 3 imports, all right? Kicker at the 4. He's not going to have to do too much. You got those 3 guys right there.
Newly.
Lozada.
And News. But Lozada's going to be with Brazil, so he's not going to be
he's not there right now.
Right? So I think that 4 right there is good enough to hold. It depends who they play against in the early games.
No. We're not talking about at the start of the season. We're talking about just right now preparing for the season.
Oh, right now prepare. Oh.
You don't care?
Pre-game. Nah, that don't mean nothing.
We're talking about practice?
Yeah, you talking about practice.
I was talking about the whole overarching situation that the preseason is splintered.
Nah, you good. They ain't
It
worried about
matters.
that. You got vets, man.
It does matter.
Don't matter with veterans.
Nah.
Hey, can I just quickly,
matters.
look, I don't know what has happened. Obviously, you've been in Sydney a little bit the last 10 or so days. Do you feel a bit of a softening towards the Sydney Kings from this man who a month ago on this panel said, can't win the championship?
No, I said it a month. I wasn't here a month ago.
You're on vacay, that's right. I'll say 2 months ago.
Okay.
We had this discussion. You said, what did they do last year?
Yeah, it's true, but I didn't say they'd win it. I just said I was impressed with what Bogut, how his performance was versus Team USA during the win. That was very impressive. You can't deny that. Nor will I.
will not.
You know, Kevin Lish, my question was always health. How's his calf going to be? As soon as I saw him, I asked him that off camera. Talk to me. How you feeling? How's your calf? Great. He's an honest man. You can look him in the eye. He's not going to lie to me for nothing like that. He's going to be like,
do you think they're going to be a bit more dangerous than you might have thought 2 months ago?
Definitely. Again, like I said, with Bogut looking the way he's looking, with Bogut looking the way he's looking, he comes in a season like that, which there's no way he should not. And he's playing like that. Got to watch out for them Kings.
Did anybody collect the Andrew Bogut bounty that they had on your head to call you carry? Or did everyone fall short? Because Baines did a hell of a good job.
Baines was real smooth with it. Harrison Barnes was super smooth with it. I was like, oh, okay.
Hey, NBL preseason.
Even the owner gets involved. Yo, he's on Twitter.
Who?
Oh my God.
The
owner. I'm like, yo, look at this guy. He wants to join in. I'm not giving him no light.
The Adelaide 36ers in the Philippines.
I'm not giving him no light. Hey, Kerry, who's the best center in the league now? And he at Sean Long in it and Bogut.
He's not messing around.
Yeah,
Sean Long landed. I did say you excited.
Shout out to Sean Long in the building.
Let's talk about the 36ers.
Let's talk about the 36ers in the Philippines. Split the 2 games, of course. Ramon Moore led all scorers of the 36 in the first game. Froling. Daniel Dillon played really well. In fact, got the start in the second game. Deshaun Taylor come off the bench. DJ was 16 and 7 there. Griffin eased into it 15 and 5. Played much better in the second game. And McVeigh, who looks like he's really hit the weight room as well, had 12 points in the second game. But a split for the Adelaide 36ers in the Philippines.
Yeah, great preparation for them. The opportunity to go and play against a team that's preparing for the World Cup. And they were 2 really tough, competitive hitouts. They got torched by Andre Blatch in the first game. 19 points, 18 rebounds, and 9 assists. The big fella, and they did a much better. And Daniel Johnson was super quiet, and they did a much. He and Eric Griffin did a much better job, along with Harry Froling, in keeping him quiet in that second game. And you know who was the only Adelaide 36ers player to score in double figures in both games?
The point guard.
Brendan Teese.
Brendan Teese.
Who is captain?
Who is in? Check out his Instagram. You got to slide across from when he won the Premier League championship in South Australia. He is in incredible shape right now. You want to talk about someone who's been training to look good naked? I mean,
Brendan.
I'm just going to say, Brendan Teese is in incredible shape.
South East Melbourne Phoenix also hit the court. They've been on court scrimmage against the Boomers 10 or so days ago and took on Brian Goorjian with his visiting Chinese team. I think Kyle Adnan was actually really good. He had 16. Your man, actually, Kendall Stevens, if he has a big year, he's got one man to thank, Liam Santamaria, because without him, he wouldn't be here. Ty Wesley had 12. But a 12-point win for South East Melbourne Phoenix, who are just starting to... And look, obviously Mitch Creek not there at the moment for the Phoenix.
It was... Don't be fooled by the angle of the camera here. There was 800 people there at the state.
Well, don't look like it.
No. That's Ty Wesley. There's a big block there from Pinot. Yeah, you're right. Kendall Stevens, 5 triples. He is going to splash a whole bunch of threes. It got a little physical. I tell you what, there was some grown man business. That went... Oh! And keep your eye on the left of the screen. Look at Brian Goorjian get up and get involved. He was talking a whole bunch of smack.
Oh.
I spoke to Ty Wesley. He said, yeah, he was talking a bit. We called, everyone called their Jets post-game, but Gorge was yapping as he usually does. But they took care of business. So Melbourne United beat Zhejiang last week, and South East Melbourne got it done on Sunday.
Liam Santamaria and I commentated the NBL 1 Grand Finals a couple of weeks ago, and we had the fortune of have a chat to Kendall Stevens at half-time, and the first thing Liam brought up was like, man, you wouldn't be here unless I'd have told everyone about the loophole.
Come on,
and he agreed. He actually agreed.
He's looking for a kickback.
He won,
No doubt. You put in work. They got to give you something, man.
A 10% Kendall Stevens when you have a big year. All right, Terry Armstrong's in town too.
Yes.
He wants that dunk contest trophy, and judging by what the Phoenix put on social media today, I reckon he's
really?
on his way. Have you seen it?
No. Yeah. Oh, wow.
He dunked over Dane Pinot.
Oh, yeah. He dunked over Dane Pinot.
Yeah.
In competitive?
No.
Just dunk a ball.
Yeah, after
Sorry,
practice.
mate. Wasn't it a competitive contest? I don't care about it.
I've seen some people after practice do some incredible things. Vince Carter did it during the game.
Yeah, he did. All right, boys. Anything else before we get out of here? What have you got this week? You got to relax, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely relaxing. Don't call me. Don't message me. I'm off the grid.
You're off the grid.
7 games in 11 days.
Yeah.
Well deserved.
Well earned.
Okay,
you and my crew did a great job.
Right on, man. It was nothing but love. I appreciated it.
Man.
Glad I was on the stage with you for the 3x3 Hustle showcase. Just happy to be involved.
Let's just get
Period.
that win over Canada.
Ooh,
that first win. In
start.
tournament play, that first game always so important.
Be huge.
If we can keep a hold of Kevin Pangos, we should be able to get
There you go. Hashtag NBL overtime to get involved. Hashtag NBL 20. Hashtag see incredible. Hashtag see salmon. Hashtag whatever the hell you want.
Go
Just get
Boomers.
involved. We're going to be back this. Hashtag go Boomers. We're going to be back this time next week. Thanks for joining us. It's been NBL overtime.
Peace.